I'm glad that you mentioned that Syracuse isn't going to Duke, North Carolina, Virginia. Although the Virginia game that would be fun because Virginia's going to have to score more than 20 points in a half, which I don't think they can do that. Basically, the Iowa football of college basketball.
Yes, you made that comparison yesterday, and it was I thought about it and I was like, you know what? Usually I say something kind of like clever when I'm responding to people. And I was like trying to think of something to say, and I was like, you know what? Like, I just wrote, like, you know what? That's actually a really good comparison.
Thank you.
It was actually a really good comparison. I'm like, yeah. And I was like, well, yeah, Virginia kind of wins more than Iowa does, but you're spot on with it. But Syracuse struggles against Virginia
Yeah.
because for whatever reason, whenever Syracuse plays Virginia, it's not even that they just can't score, but their defense, they can't handle the Virginia offense. Like this year, they couldn't do it. They couldn't stay in the game with them. Their defense just wasn't good enough. So they got blown out at Virginia, and they haven't really done well against Virginia over the past few seasons. I'm just glad that they're coming to the Dome instead of going on the road because we saw what happened this year on the road. Virginia is not even that good of a basketball team, but it's just in that environment, they just don't fare well. It's the same thing like when they go to Duke. When this team goes to Duke, it's just, I can't even remember. I remember the last time they won at Duke. They have won there. It was a few years ago, and it was Elijah Hughes hit like a 90-foot or 75-foot shot at the end of the first half. I remember that one, but that's the last time they won at Duke. And they've never won in North Carolina. They've never won there. So the fact that you don't have to play any of those teams on the road next season, I think that's a massive win for this team and should only increase the expectations that we have for them.
Well, I'm excited to see what happens, but Virginia, I will tell you, they shouldn't have been in. I mean, it's like you and I, we're both basically having a venting session about Virginia. It's pretty awesome. It's like, why are they in? Okay, you won a national title in 2019. We know, but you sucked in March before the national title, and you have sucked afterwards. Like, good grief, Virginia.
I said so many times on the podcast that in the ACC tournament, going over like all the possible, draws of the bracket and everything before it came out, I said, there's only one team really I don't want to see. And it has nothing to do with the game of basketball. It's just entertainment purposes. Who wants to watch Virginia basketball?
Right?
I don't even think that their own fans like watching them play. It's boring. It's a slugfest every single game. Do you enjoy watching a team not scoring a basket for an hour?
No.
For an actual hour, they did not score a basket. Like, that is impossible. How do you do that? That is like your one job as a basketball player is to like put the ball in the basket, and they couldn't do it for a full 60 minutes of actual clock. It was remarkable. I turned the game off at one point. I was like, you know what? I think I turned it off in the first half. I was like, you know what? It's not worth even watching this. Like, I don't even care. So what I did was I just was like, I'm going to turn the game off and just record the podcast now. I don't need to watch this game. First of all, it's got nothing to do with Syracuse. And second of all, I'm so bored. I don't want to stay up, watch this whole game, and then record the podcast. I don't even need to. I already know what's going to happen. Virginia's going to lose because they can't score a single basket. And it only got worse when I turned it off. That's my rant about Virginia. I hate that program, not necessarily because of being a rival or being an ACC foe or anything like that. It's just because they're so boring to watch.
And everybody hypes them up for no reason. They act like they've won 5 national titles in 10 years. Like, good
Well,
grief.
they're a very good basketball program. They are without a doubt a very good basketball program. But I said this, I think I said this to you before the show. If Syracuse hired Tony Bennett, I don't know if there would be a Locked On Syracuse podcast, or at least not an entertaining Locked On Syracuse podcast. I try to make the shows entertaining for everyone, and I don't know how entertaining I would be able to get it, because they might win a lot of games, but every game I would be like, hey guys, welcome into Locked On Syracuse. Syracuse won or lost 54-45. They are playing excellent defense right now, but still can't score. And we're going to do that for 30 games every year. I don't know how I would be able to make that interesting, but thank goodness, at the very least, you can say what you want about this Syracuse team. They're pretty fun.
Yeah.
They're fun to watch. I always enjoy watching them because you never know what you're going to get.
Well, and Syracuse isn't only scoring 14 points in the first half.
But see, you might get that happening. But the next game, they might have a guy that Chris Bell might hit 8 threes in the first half, and they darn near score 60, like in one half. You just never know with them. It's wildly entertaining to watch. Against Notre Dame, they lead by 29. And then all of a sudden, Notre Dame has a chance to tie the game with like 10 seconds left. You just never know with this team. Every game is a roller coaster, and it's fun. They might not win a lot, but at least I'm enjoying myself.
True. Well, but I will say though, I wish we had Indiana State or St. John's or Providence or like a Oklahoma or Kansas State instead of Virginia in that first 4 game.
I would have rathered anyone else.
True.
I would have taken anyone else. I don't care. We put Louisville in. I don't care. Do whatever you have to do. I just can't watch Virginia basketball. Like I just can't. I think the next year when Syracuse plays them, I'm going to take a nap during the game.
There you go. Smart man. You're a smart man for turning off the game. You're smarter than I am, because I tend to torture myself with this sort of thing sometimes.
I didn't see the point. I was I didn't miss anything. I did. If worst comes to worst, I could have looked at my phone or looked on my laptop or whatever and stopped the recording if it was like super close with like a minute to go. Like it didn't matter. It didn't affect me. I'm glad I turned it off. I'm sorry that you sat through the entire thing. Good for you on that one.
I actually watched a few minutes here and there. Like the first half, I was like, okay, I'm not watching this. Okay, second half be better. I'm just gonna tweet about it.
Good on you, at least for watching more than I did.
I'll do my best, but like I said, you are a smart man, way smarter than I am.
I appreciate the compliment.
So I say what I mean.